It's first week of December here in New Zealand. We've got the Christmas tree up. Today I'm just going to show you what you can expect to see in your garden in the first week of December, especially if you've been working hard through winter and spring to get stuff in the ground. Take care of them and give them a happy life. If you do that, then this time of year is really good. You can walk out to your garden each day and you can pick off great treats to take inside and snack on. It's pretty awesome, so I'll show you around. Heaps of lettuce. It grows absolutely abundantly this time of year. Cabbages, check these out. Really big. You can chop those up, blanch them and freeze them, or eat them fresh, do whatever you want. These are some of my favourites. These are the sweet peas. They're really good. You just snap them off and you can eat them just like that. Absolutely delicious. This time of year herbs are going nuts. I've had to chop all of mine back. Coriander, lemon balm, thyme, chives, all that good stuff. It's all going hard this time of year. You'll have grapes, some grapes in there. Onions are ready this time of year, or not far from it anyway. I was a little late on planting mine, but that's alright. I knew I was going to want them late December, around Christmas time. I don't want to be buying veggies and stuff around then, so they'll be perfectly ready around then. Garlic, that's just gone in the ground. Good time to plant, during spring. Takes quite a few months to get garlic, but those will be huge in a couple of months. Strawberries. Great time of year for strawberries. I've got mine in an enclosure. I'm not giving the birds any this year. Got fruit trees, berries and passion fruit. Apples are starting to grow at the moment. Got turnips down here. Spring and early summer is a great time to get all of your root crops in the ground. So here I've got little rows of carrot seedlings. They'll be huge in a couple of months. They won't take too long. I've got a whole row of parsnip down here. So those will be ready in a couple of months too. Here's all the stuff that you plant through winter, broccoli and cabbage, all of that sort of good stuff. Spinach, you want plenty of that. Asparagus, that's a great one. See, these things here, that's all asparagus. It's a good time of year to get yams in the ground. They do take a year long before they're ready again, but if you get them in the ground now, then they'll be ready in a year's time, so ready before Christmas next year, which is absolutely brilliant. At the moment it's a great time for beans. Any beans, sweet peas, sugar snap peas, all of that good stuff should be in the ground right now. This is like my third generation of peas and beans this season. Simply because I keep planting them every couple of weeks because I love them, so I've always got a fresh supply. These are just the babies. Got a big pit full of potatoes here. You need to be getting those in the ground at the end of winter, early spring, and they'll be ready, first season potatoes, usually ready just before Christmas, which is perfect. You should have things like pumpkin, easy to grow from seeds. You just start them at the start of spring, whack them in the ground, just old pumpkin seeds and stuff like that, and then they start to flower, and before you know it, you'll have big fat pumpkins all over your yard. I've already harvested most of my broccoli. These are just the second heads coming up. What you do is you chop the broccoli right at the top like that, your main harvest, and then a little side sprout will grow up, so you actually get 2 harvests out of every broccoli plant. And a couple of them will go to seed like this, so I'll be able to collect the seeds, so I'll be able to start the same variety when I'm ready to plant my next lot of broccoli. Here you've got the beans that you plant right at the start of winter pretty much, or midwinter, and then by this time of year they're flipping huge. So these are broad beans, absolutely awesome. Steam them up, bake them, do whatever you want, eat them fresh, they're beautiful, high in fibre. Celery, going hard here. Celery is absolutely beautiful. More beans, all of this sort of stuff just goes hard, running along fences and stuff. And here you've got leeks, all of this type of thing you need to be planting right at the start of spring, or sometimes earlier if you're onto it. More leeks and more onions. Tomatoes. Here I've got all sorts of different varieties of tomatoes. The tomatoes should be going hard in your garden right now. See, I've got big bunches of fruit that's ripening basically on the stem. I just grow a big main stem up, and that's how you get the most fruit out of it. All different varieties here, and you can get these at the start of spring and all that, but you need to be careful. It's ideal to keep them in a glass house at first. You can't plant them outside if there's still a risk of frost. If they get hit by a frost, they're goners. Mine are all good, as you can see, going hard. Got a kiwi or melon down here, or a horned melon. It's a big ugly green orange melon thing with spikes on the outside, but it's absolutely delicious, and once again it gives you a whole big bunch of seeds inside each melon, which you use again at the start of spring next year to start raising your seedlings. Whack them in the ground and booyah, this time of year they're ready to start flowering and going hard. These are tomatillos, purple and green ones, so they grow pretty much like tomatoes, look pretty much like tomatoes, but taste more like fruit. But funnily enough, go really good with tomatoes. So you chop them up and use them to make salsas and things like that. You run a string line along those, and that way they can grow up with the string and have a nice happy life. Happy days, yeah. Capsicums, all of this stuff you get in the ground sort of mid-spring, after the frosts definitely. You don't want this type of thing getting hit by a frost. They look a bit sad until the weather warms up right about now. Start of December, first days of summer, and then they just start shooting off. Those are little baby tomatoes I got in there. Cucumbers. This is apple cucumber, and this just goes hard, look at that. Growing up the stem, it's well supported, it's staked, and that's going to grow big apple cucumbers, which are like a big round whitish, yellowish kind of cucumber. This is the same. Then you've got squash down here growing beneath it, and that's just growing out of the compost from seeds that were caught up in the dirt from last year's harvest, which is absolutely brilliant. Got eggplant in here. That's a white star eggplant, so that's like a giant white eggplant. This is the Ping Tung Long, which is a really long purple eggplant, absolutely beautiful, and that's just a normal purple one. Same with this big beautiful eggplant tree in a pot, and it's starting to really take off now that the weather's warming up, and that'll go all through summer. Probably won't be any fruit ready for me until, I don't know, probably mid to late January, but I can wait. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. But first week of December, what you really want to be looking out for is, and if you are prepared getting this in late spring after the frosts, then you will have big fat zucchinis like this. Absolutely huge, starting to grow. Look, there's a couple more of these bad boys, really good. You'll have chilies and capsicums, all sorts of other stuff all growing all through there. Well, that's first week of December for you in the garden. Definitely all sorts of activity happening here. A lot of fun, good for the soul.